This is a story that has haunted Britain for decades, a true unsolved mystery that still sends a shiver down the spine of anyone who hears it. We're diving deep into a case that has remained cold for over 40 years. A puzzle with missing pieces that investigators could never find. According to old British investigation records, this isn't just a story. It's a chilling reality that has left a family without answers and a community in fear. The official files were eventually sealed, but the questions they raised never went away. What really happened on that foggy night? Who was responsible? And why did they vanish without a trace? The deeper you look, the more unsettling it becomes. We've managed to access some of the declassified British police files, and what they reveal is truly disturbing. The archived records from 1978 paint a picture of utter confusion and frustration. Investigators hit a dead end, a brick wall they just couldn't break through. There was no suspect, no motive, and ultimately, no closure for the victims or their loved ones. Imagine being an investigator back then, working with limited technology, trying to piece together a crime that seemed to defy all logic. The evidence was contradictory, eyewitness accounts were unreliable, and every lead seemed to dissolve into thin air. It was as if a ghost had committed the crime and simply vanished. The files show how the case slowly went from a top priority to a forgotten file in a dusty archive. Let's set the scene! It was a cold, damp evening in a quiet British town, the kind of place where nothing ever happens.
A thick fog was rolling in from the coast, blanketing the streets in a gray shroud.
This wasn't just any fog. It was the kind that muffles sound and distorts vision, creating an eerie, almost supernatural atmosphere.
Locals would later say the weather itself felt ominous that night.
It was against this backdrop that the events began to unfold.
A routine night was about to be shattered, and the town's sense of security would be broken forever.
The fog wasn't just a weather phenomenon. It became a character in this story, a silent accomplice that concealed the truth and allowed the perpetrator to slip away unseen.
The initial call came in late.
At first, it sounded like a minor disturbance, something the local police dealt with all the time.
But as the first officers arrived on the scene, they immediately knew this was different. The silence was the first thing that struck them as wrong.
It was a heavy, unnatural quiet inside the home. The scene was one of controlled chaos. Nothing was obviously stolen. There was no sign of a forced entry, yet something was terribly amiss.
The forensics team of the era did their best, dusting for prints and collecting fibers, but the clues they found only deepened the mystery.
They discovered things that shouldn't have been there and couldn't find things that should have been.
It was a contradiction at every turn.
As the investigation widened, the police started interviewing neighbors and potential witnesses. But the more people they spoke to, the more confusing the picture became. Some reported hearing a strange, high-pitched noise around the time of the incident. Others saw a dark, classic car speeding away from the area, but no two descriptions of the car matched.
One elderly woman swore she saw a tall figure in a long coat standing under a streetlight, who's watching before disappearing into the mist.
Were these genuine sightings, or was it just the fog playing tricks on people's minds? The investigators were swamped with tips, but none led anywhere solid.
The case file grew thicker with dead-end leads and unsubstantiated theories, each one adding another layer of complexity to an already impossible puzzle.
Weeks turned into months, and the investigation stalled. The media frenzy died down, and the public's attention moved on. But for the family and the detectives involved,
The case remained a constant, gnawing presence.
one of the lead investigators, now retired, spoke anonymously years later.
He said it was the one case that truly haunted him, the one he'd lie awake at night thinking about.
He described a feeling of being outsmarted, not by a criminal mastermind, but by something else entirely.
Something he could never quite put his finger on.
He believed a crucial piece of evidence was either missed or deliberately hidden, a single key that could have unlocked the entire mystery. But that key was never found. So, what are the theories? Over the years, countless amateur sleuths and true crime enthusiasts have tried to crack the case. Some theories are plausible, pointing to a carefully planned crime by someone who knew the area and the victim's routine intimately.
Others are more outlandish, involving secret societies, espionage, and even paranormal elements, fueled by the strange circumstances in the eerie setting.
Without new evidence, however, these all remain speculations. We may never know what really happened. The case remains a dark chapter in British criminal history, a stark reminder that some questions are destined to go unanswered. It's a chilling thought that the person responsible could have lived a normal life, their dark secret buried forever. Thank you for watching! If you find stories like this as fascinating as we do, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the unknown.